how you can get there. So, for example, Genpact is such a great example for me that, you know, it's worth spending time really cultivating a relationship with a company and with people within that company. They give us thousands of students every year, right? And every year it doubles. And that's because we didn't go for masses. We never have. You will never have seen GTG training advertised. We don't do that. We do word of mouth only. And attrition has actually been great for us, right? We love attrition. Why? Because somebody leaves from learning and development, or somebody leaves this role in finance and accounting and goes to another company, and then they go to the other company, oh, we did this brilliant course with GTG, you should talk to them. So it's fantastic. So growth hacking, you've got to look for the disruptors in the market, not the, you know, don't think that just by being on Twitter or having a blog or having a Facebook page is magically going to give you the numbers. It isn't. You've got to be much more strategic and visionary about it.
Of course, I mean, all these are just tools. You talked about customer relationship. And you've talked a lot about relationship building, be it with your investors, be it with your customers, be it with your team also.
Mm.
Yeah,
very much so.
You haven't spoken much about your team building. How is that?
GTG is a family. You meet any of our staff, whether it's my current staff or people who have left, everyone who's left us has gone into amazing companies, right? And that for me is a testament of success. And you know, as people join us, I always say to them that, you know what, I'm only training you for your next role. And that's my view. That's who my staff are to me. They're like my children. And that's how you've got to be with them. And that means that if you have to be tough, you know, if your kids are throwing, my mum just told me off about this today, but if your kids are throwing their shoes around, you know, you will say to them, you can't do that anymore, right? And that's what you've got to do within a company. So for me, I think the days of having very strict hierarchies and a work life completely separate to a personal life, those days have gone. That's not, human beings aren't like that. We're not compartments, we're not cupboards where you put this here and there. You know, we're people, we're entities, and it's almost like resonating. You know, you need to resonate, you need to be on the same frequency as people, and that's my belief. My team, attrition, honestly, in GTG is so low. I've had the same team for the last 6 or 7 years, and women have always been an important part in my organisation. I've specifically recruited women who have got children, who need flexible working hours and everything. And in that particular group, we've had literally 0% attrition, apart from people going on to have another baby. So
you talked about, so I wanted to ask you, you talked about work-life integration, balance, harmony, you know, there are a lot of keywords being used on that. So I just remembered you had mentioned that you're writing a science fiction book.
Yeah.
How do you manage that? I mean, how do you manage so many different things?
So the first thing that I want to say, and this has been said before, and there's men in the audience, right? Men, has anyone ever said, how do you manage your work-life balance? Do you not have work and life, right? Why is it just women who are asked about work-life balance? It's an interesting concept for me. We're all human beings at the end of the day. So for me, it's not about work-life balance. It's about being in harmony with everything that's going on around you. And the one thing that I would say is I am ruthless with my time. I absolutely do not have seconds where I sit around and do nothing, unless my purpose is to do nothing, to meditate or to read or whatever. I am a fanatic scheduler. If you look at my Outlook, I have my EA looks after it for me. But everything from, I go running 4 times a week, it's in there. Spending time with my kids, it's in there. And it's not in there as like, oh Vandana, you've now got to spend time with your kids. It's in there as in, this is my time to be with Jay and Zara and to be the mum that they want me to be, not the mum that I think I should be, right? So for me, it's, you can do everything. I go running, and I think Ajay's here, so he's seen me go running in Goregaon Park at least 3 or 4 times a week with my kids. I do martial arts. I play the saxophone badly, as I said. I'm in the process of writing a series of science fiction novels. There's 7 in the series, and I've just finished book 1, so hopefully it'll be out next year. So look out for the Ojus Chronicles. It's about a girl who finds out she's got into an institute in outer space, and the purpose of that institute is to find balance in the universe. But the problem is that Earth is causing too many problems and is throwing everything out of whack. So it's, it's very strange. I'll tell you one concept which I think is really relevant, because it's to do with the travel that I've made, and it's about thinking differently, and that's what we all need to do in our businesses. Her mother is from a planet where any child that dies on Earth in the womb, or within 11 minutes of being born, its soul goes to this other planet and is born on this other planet. But because we're killing so many female babies in India, China, and in South America, that planet is 80% female. And if you think that 80% of history has been written by men and about men, 80% of religion has been written by men and about men, and 80% of legislation is written by men for men, if you suddenly take all of that away and you have an 80% female world, what would it look like? So watch this space. Thank you. And then there's a planet which is run by children. There's a planet which is totally about sound and vibration, and is in the shape of an infinity symbol, and many other crazy planets. So it's my way of kind of tackling some of the craziness that's going on in this world. And I find time to do it. I find time to do all of these things. So it's all about you saying, stop beating yourself up, saying, especially women, don't beat yourself up and say, oh, I didn't give enough time to my kids, my husband, my family, and all of this. My mother is the one who taught me all about this from being a kid in the UK. She managed a job, she managed a very loving but difficult husband, 2 crazy kids. Me and my brother, we're not easy kids. She worked, she writes, in fact, this year in Bhopal at the Vishwa Hindi Sammelan, she was honoured with her best contribution to Hindi literature. And but she showed me how to manage her time. She did it. She went to the gym, she went on holiday with her friends, which was not a dumb thing back in the 80s. But she did it all, and she never complained. She managed it, and so, you know, we can manage it. It's what's there to manage. It's life.
Does it make you more creative and productive, do you think?
Absolutely. My brain is just, as you can imagine, it's just completely. It's I have a very creative side, and then I have my accountancy side and my business side, and I sit on the board of the UK-India Business Council, so work on policy between UK and India, and you know, very involved in writing papers for David Cameron and the British High Commission, and you know, things that go to the Ministry of HRD here. And the thing is, I think having a different outlet is very, very important, because when you're distracted from what you do during the day, it gives you space to think, and subconsciously you're processing a lot more, and you get lots more ideas.
Great. So a lot of companies, you know, when they start, whether they're product services, they want to sell in the US, you know, which is your market, US. You have had a very extensive experience in selling your products.
Yeah.
And especially Europe and UK.
Yeah.
Is it different? How different it is? What kind of things work? What don't work?
Yeah. You know, the biggest thing, and you've heard this a million times before, and you just have to accept that people are different. In different countries, people are different. In the UK, quality is paramount. Quality and customer service is paramount. If you say that you are going to get them something by a certain time and date, they are absolutely expecting it. They will not chase you 10 times to say, will you get it? They won't do that. They will expect you to deliver what you say you're going to deliver when you say you're going to deliver it. And a lot of companies in India are like that too. But every company in the UK is like that. And so you do need to be aware that the stakes are much higher in doing that. If you're working with the UK, Europe, or America. My honest belief, look, I've lived in so many countries over the last 20 years, and I'm here because we live in the biggest market on the planet, right? And okay, it may not be in terms of margins, but I do a lot of work with an organisation called the Club of Rome, And the Club of Rome looks at the future in 50 years' time or 100 years' time.